Welcome to the Am I the Asshole podcast. Let's get into it. Today, we're going to be talking about relationship troubles. This is going to be a good one, so strap in and get into it. All right, first scenario. Title, Caught in a Loop of Misunderstandings. Need advice. I'm 28 female, currently caught in a series of misunderstandings with my partner, 30 male, and I'm not sure how to break this cycle. We've been together for 4 years, and overall, our relationship has been great. However, lately, it feels like we're stuck in a loop of arguments and miscommunications. It all started a few months ago when I noticed my partner texting someone late at night. I got curious and asked him about it, and he seemed defensive, saying it was just a friend from work. I tried to trust him, but my insecurities got the best of me, and I would snoop through his phone when he wasn't around. I found innocent messages, but he caught me red-handed and was furious. Ever since that incident, things have been tense. He feels like I don't trust him, and I feel like he's hiding something. But you saw what was in the phone. So how is he hiding anything? We've had, I guess it's that woman intuition thing. We've had several arguments. We've tried to explain my insecurities. Okay. Where I've tried to explain my insecurities, but it always ends with him getting frustrated and shutting down. I know I messed up by snooping, but I can't shake off the feeling that something's not right. The problem is we're trapped in this cycle. He says he needs space, but that only fuels my anxiety and makes me feel like he's pulling away. I want to trust him more and move past this, but every time I try, we end up right back where we started. I love him and I know he loves me, but I'm afraid we're going to spiral into a breakup if we can't find a way to break free from this loop. Has anyone been through something similar? How do we break this cycle of misunderstandings and build back the trust once we had? Any advice would be greatly appreciated. Okay, now she has a pretty common situation. I'm sure a lot of people go through these kind of situations where, their partner is doing something a little shady, so they kind of like try to get to the bottom of it, and then they realize, oh, it wasn't what I thought it was, and so now the other person is just like, what the fuck, you don't trust me anymore? What's going on with you? My thing is, for one, I understand her skepticism of like texting someone late at night, whatever, and then him getting defensive over it. But at the same time, she shouldn't have snooped. She really shouldn't have, because at that point, she was kind of asking for like more trouble and more, fights in the relationship and things like that. She was just kind of asking for more, like, I don't want to say misunderstanding, but she was just kind of asking for more trouble in the relationship. And that to me, it should have just been a thing where you should have talked to him about it, instead of snooping. Talk to him about it. You should have just been like, hey, look, this is how I'm feeling, this and that. Just show me that the messages are innocent and I'll believe you and everything's all right. And I think even if he was defensive, even if he got upset, whatever the case may be, it's him showing you the phone. And so he feels like, okay, well, she didn't snoop through my crap. She didn't, look through my stuff, whatever the case may be. Because I think that's what he's mad about the most, is that you went behind his back to look through his phone. That's where I think she messed up. And as the guy, I would feel upset because I'm like, what the heck? You don't trust me when I say that it is what it is? I understand your, maybe, I don't want to say skepticism, but your worry and you know that whole woman intuition thing and your gut feeling and all this kind of stuff. I acknowledge that and I understand that, and I'm sure he did too, but it was a thing where it's like, I'm sure a lot of people to a degree have boundaries of like, hey, my private life is my private life, and if you want to be let into that private life, please ask me, or at least if you have concerns and things like that, even if I get defensive about it or even if I get upset about it, kind of let me understand why it is you want to be let into my private life, because even in a relationship, you have to understand, people are still going to have their private lives. People are still going to have, things they may not want their significant other to know. And that's another thing too. So it is a bit of a double-edged sword, and I understand. My biggest thing for this situation in general, though, is that she should have just asked him, hey, this is how I understand that you're upset and you're frustrated, that, you say that the messages aren't bad or anything like that, but just let me in, ease my conscience a little bit, just show me the conversation, and I won't bring it up, and it'll be all right. And I think there won't be a violation of trust, because now it's like, okay, you asked me, you showed me your feelings. And at that point, I think he will just kind of, yes, he's going to give an attitude. Yes, he's going to be upset. And he's like, fine, here, if you want to know so freaking bad, he's going to be that way, 100%. And I can hear the ladies now like, oh, but he's going to get upset and he's just going to be this and that. And it's like, I get that. He is. But that's the right way to go about it. If I'm being honest with you, that's the way to do it. If he is not showing you, or he's getting defensive and things like that, or he's getting frustrated, then, just simply explain your feelings out to a point where it's like he kind of has to understand, like, all right, look, I get it. I see how that looks, blah, blah, blah. I'll just show you. Or even if he huffs and puffs and then shows you, it just allows you to ease your mind in a way where he doesn't feel betrayed and he doesn't feel like, oh, you went behind my back. Like, how dare you go behind my back and look through my phone without telling me? And how dare you do this? You see what I mean? It just, either way, it's going to be pulling teeth for her, and it sucks. But at the same time, it's like the other way I described, it doesn't snowball into other things. You snoop and you go behind his back, it just snowballs into other things. You see what I mean? And that's the point I'm trying to make, is we can prevent all this snowballing if we just ask, and even if he huffs and puffs and, even if he's annoyed and upset, he's still going to be okay with it and be like, well, at least she didn't look, snoop through my shit, or at least she, gave me the common courtesy enough to ask, things like that. So yeah, I feel like all she had to do was really just kind of express her feelings about it. Be like, hey, look, I know you love me. I know everything's good, but just show me that the messages are harmless. If you show me that, I'll be solid. So, okay. Ooh, struggling to reconnect after a long distance relationship. This one's going to be good. Hey, Reddit. I could really use some advice right now. My partner, 28 male, and I, 26 female, have been in a long-distance relationship for the past year due to work commitments. We used to be incredibly close, but lately it feels like we're drifting apart. It's becoming harder to find things to talk about, and I'm worried that we're losing that spark we once had. Long distance can be tough, but remember that maintaining a connection takes effort from both sides. Let's see. It's important to create shared experiences when you're apart. Maybe you should catch the movie, TV. Okay. So she's just kind of listing off things. So pretty much the scenario is that her and her partner have been in a long distance relationship due to work reasons. That's different. That's hard to do, because they're not in a long distance kind of scenario because they live, far away or whatever. It's kind of a work thing. And so for me, honestly, my best advice, I guess I would say, is to just simply find ways to meet up. I mean, you're not working 24 hours in the day. You know what I mean? Most you're going to be working 8 hours, maybe 10 hours, whatever the case may be. Their schedules may not align very well, but I mean, we are in the age of technology now. So it's one of those things where what you could do is simply FaceTime call, I understand she did say like, oh, we're running out of things to talk about. But I mean, that's kind of where you talk about, honestly, your job and your coworkers. And I want to say, since they're long distance, a lot of times they can talk about, their experiences where they're at, that could be something too. That one's a tough one just because, I don't know if they're living together. I wish she would have gave more information, but she really didn't. She kind of just gave a very, minute amount of detail, which kind of sucks, but it is what it is. My thing is we have technology and you're not working 24 hours in the day. I say you guys can meet up, find a way to meet up. You know what I mean? I mean, if it is a plane ride kind of distance, which I'm thinking that's what it is, and that's why it's kind of such an issue to the point where, she'd write into the show. It's like what she could do is simply find time when they're off and maybe create a bit of a like video date. I mean, that's kind of the best thing if they're within driving distance, definitely, you know what I mean? Try to get a hotel halfway, or one person just takes the whole drive, another person, whatever the case may be. Like, if you're in driving distance, I don't think there's any excuse. You should be seeing your partner. You guys should be doing things. You don't work, 24 hours in the day. I get it. Work is tiring and stuff like that. But, your relationship is a job too, sadly. I mean, that's what a lot of people forget, is that your relationship is a job, whether you like it or not. It's a full-time job, and people tend to forget that part of it. They just think like a relationship is just between two people who love each other. And it's just like, that's great on paper, but love is not going to be the reason that you guys have been together for so many years. No, it's the work that you put in. You know what I mean? Because I'm not saying you're treating it like a job, but you're treating it like a job in the sense of you're there every day. You're putting in the work. You're doing tasks and things that your partner loves and that you enjoy, and you're creating, these like, I don't want to say scenarios, but you're creating not only memories. God, it's escaping me, but you're just kind of creating a dynamic between you two where it does allow each person to feel fulfilled. My mom would always use the quote of, as you're filling someone's cup, they should fill yours as well, and it's kind of like that back and forth where it's like your cup is always going to be empty at some point, where mine will always be full. And when, I need you to be there in that some way, whether it's, through love or emotional support or spending time together or anything like that, that's when, you fill my cup, and then when you need those kind of things, then I fill your cup. And it's just that kind of back and forth. And obviously that's the dynamic I'm talking about, where it's like you guys are creating these moments and doing that kind of stuff. For them, obviously they have to put in a lot more work because they're long distance. So that, I think, is where they're kind of having trouble, is, putting in more work than a normal relationship, which kind of sucks. But I mean, that's what you signed up for, if I'm being honest with you, when you got with this person, you know what I mean? And, or even took that job that was far away and stuff like that, because I'm sure they talked about this, they knew it was going to be an issue eventually because of the distance and because of what's going on. So it's not like they, didn't foresee this. So that's what I mean. You know what I mean? You guys should have kind of planned for this the moment it happened. But I look at it like, if they're like plane ride far, we have technology. We got laptops and computers, and our phones, allow us to FaceTime and stuff like that. Use those to your advantage and have dates that way. If you guys are a drive away, try to meet in the middle, or simply just like, somebody take that long drive. That's all I can say about that one. Best of luck to you guys on that, but it is what it is. All right, next one. Caught in a communication loop. Need advice on resolving differences. Okay. All right. I'm feeling a bit lost in my relationship and could use some advice. My partner and I have been together for 2 years, and lately we've been stuck in this frustrating communication loop. It all started when we moved in together a few months ago. Ooh, okay. I'm going to go into a bit of a tangent right here about moving in together. Moving in together is probably the hardest thing to do in a relationship ever. I really don't care who you are. I don't care how much money you have or how comfortable you are with that person. Moving in with somebody is like pulling the curtains off of a scary movie. Okay? Think about it like this. You watch a scary movie and you're like, oh my God, you know what I mean? You're emotionally driven and you're scared and the jump scares are going on and this and that. And then you watch the behind the scenes of that movie and you're like, oh, okay, well, that movie ain't all that scary. You know what I mean? Because the veil has been pulled from everything. You realize it's just makeup, it's just actors, a lot of what they're doing is fake and it's CGI and this and that. The scary movie is no longer so scary because you've seen, the behind the scenes of it. You've kind of pulled that veil of mystery over it. Now, this is the same thing with moving in with your partner. When you move in with your partner, you have pulled the veil of mystery because now it's a thing of, you guys use the bathroom around each other. You have to, fart and burp around each other. You guys have to change clothes around each other. Your girl's going to be on her period around you and you're going to deal with that. Now you guys, you see her messy bathroom supplies because now, your space is smaller and it's limited due to the fact that, there's 2 people using the bathroom now. And I think like even if you have a bunch of money and you're the type of person that, you can comfortably handle living together and all that kind of stuff, it's not an issue, whatever the case may be, you still go through these things of, the veil is being pulled and you now see the uncomfortable realities of your partner. That is just like the toughest thing ever. So I can see why they're having a lot of issues in their relationship at this point because that's such a big thing. But tangent over, let's get back to the scenario. Okay. We used to spend most of our time at each other's place and things were great. But ever since moving in, we've been arguing more frequently, mostly about little things. For instance, I like to keep the living room neat and organized, but my partner tends to leave their things lying around. It might sound trivial, but it's become a constant point of contention. Every time I bring it up, my partner gets defensive, saying I'm too uptight about tidiness. See what I mean? The veil has been pulled because they're used to being at each other's house and the messiness probably didn't bother her when she would go to his house, but now it does. Why? Because now it's her house. So it's like, it's tough. In response, I've tried to be more patient and let things slide, but it's hard for me to relax when I feel like our shared space is always messy. I've tried discussing my feelings calmly, but it seems like my partner just shuts down or avoids the conversation. We used to communicate so well before, and I'm sure why things have changed. I'm not sure why things have changed. I don't want our relationship to suffer because these petty arguments. I love my partner and I want to find a way to work this through. Has anyone else been through a similar situation? How do you break out of a communication loop? Any advice on how to address our differences without it turning into a fight would be greatly appreciated. A lot of it is pretty much just what I just said. It's that whole, you're pulling the veil, and now you're seeing everything that you didn't see before about him. So now you're learning to pretty much accept things that you didn't have to accept before. Now you have to compromise, on on things that you feel like you didn't have to compromise on before, and that's a tough pill to swallow. It really is. And it's something where, on the outside looking in, a lot of people sit there and, oh no, you can do this and you can do that and da 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 da. And that's great. But if I'm going to be cut and dry about it, that is what you're going to have to do. You're going to have to start to compromise, and you guys are going to have to find ways to just meet in the middle. I understand you want things to be tidy. You want things to be this way. But you're going to just have to compromise some of that tidiness. You're going to have to compromise some of that, to a thing where, if it's about being messy and, you're normally tidy in this situation, simply, designate days where you guys, clean the house. You guys come together and you guys clean the house on this day. It could be one day out of the week. It could be 2 days out of the week, but it's something where it's like, yes, as days are going on, the house is getting messy. Maybe you guys are, managing it throughout the week and stuff like that. But then you have that one day where it just kind of, you go through, you tidy it all up, and, yes, he's going to mess it up again. But, I mean, again, that's the compromise you guys are going to have to come to, where you guys are living together now. So it's not just you anymore. It's not just him anymore. And he's going to have to come to compromises as well, on things that maybe you do that he doesn't like, and I'm sure there is something that you do that he doesn't like, and he has to come to a compromise on that because, you guys are living together now. You have this shared space. I don't even really think it's a communication loop necessarily, because I think she's making it into a communication loop because she's making it seem like it's either this or nothing, and that's where she goes wrong. And it's a compromise. You really have to compromise with your partner at this point because you guys live together now. It's not just you anymore. You guys have to share this space, and in sharing this space, compromises are going to have to be made because you're two different people, and that's just the way it goes. It sucks and it's tough, but again, that's just the way it goes. And it's the worst because you don't want to invalidate your partner or make your partner feel like they're compromising so much, or, what I mean? You don't want to make your partner feel that way, and I can understand that to a degree, but those kind of conversations have to happen, and compromises need to be kind of met in the middle, if I'm being honest with you. So it's a thing of like, look, this is what irks me, you know what I mean? This is what I do that irks you. Let's come to a compromise, and we'll figure it out together, because that's the best way you're going to figure it out. Moving in together is hard. It's really hard, especially if you guys haven't lived together for the 2 years you've known each other. Again, it's that veil, for 2 years you had this veil, and it was just this veil of mystery. You enjoyed it. You didn't mind it too much when it was his place, because you're like, it's his place. I can go home to my, tidiness and stuff like that. But I think a lot of couples also need to have conversations about, okay, if we're going to move in together, this is what I want, coming into it. I was going to say these are my expectations, but I personally think you should not have expectations going into living with somebody, because those expectations will be shattered probably 10 times out of 10. I'm going to be honest with you. They will be shattered 10 times out of 10, because the moment you move in with somebody, they're a completely different person to you. If I'm being honest with you, you're like, whoa, I did not think that the person I knew or was dating for 2 years, 3 years, however long it is, was this kind of person. You don't know. You're like, whoa. And so that's why I say don't have expectations going into it, but have the conversation of compromises. Like, hey, I noticed that your place is a little messy sometimes, this and that. I like to keep a more cleaner house. So how can we come to a compromise in the middle to where, things are, tidy enough to my liking, but it still gives you kind of the freedom to be a little messy or whatever. Get that motherfucker a corner or something. You know what I mean? Like, hey, if you want to be messy, you go be messy in that corner over there. Just some kind of compromise that will allow him to feel like, okay, I'm comfortable, and then to make her feel like, okay, I'm comfortable. I truly think that's what you're going to have to do, because living together is not easy. Living with a significant other it's tough. So let's go ahead and get to the next one. Caught in a web of mixed signals. Ooh, okay. This one is actually going to be really good. I, 24 female, find myself in a confusing situation with my partner, 26 male. I'm not sure what to do. We've been together for 3 years and everything used to be amazing, but lately I've been feeling like I'm caught in a web of mixed signals. You see, he used to be so attentive and affectionate. We would spend hours talking, going on spontaneous dates, and he would surprise me with sweet gestures. But over the past few months, things have changed. He's become distant, often buried in his phone or preoccupied with work. When I've tried to bring up my concerns, he brushes them off, saying he's just stressed with his job and it's nothing personal. But here's the thing. He's still active on social media, posting pictures and updates. It's like he has time for everyone else except me. Last week, I stumbled upon a conversation on his phone that left me speechless. He's been messaging a girl from his work, and the messages were flirty. To say the least, I confronted him about it, and he got defensive, accusing me of invading his privacy. He said they were just jokes and that I'm overreacting. I don't know what to believe anymore. On one hand, he insists I'm the love of his life, but his actions and words don't match up. I feel like I'm walking on eggshells, constantly questioning his feelings for me. I love him, but I deserve honesty and respect. Has anyone else been in this situation like this? Am I just overthinking things, or are these red flags that I shouldn't ignore? I'm torn between wanting to believe him and protecting my own heart. Any advice on this insight would be greatly appreciated. Wow. Oh, man. I can hear the ladies now. They're like, get rid of that man. He's trash. But this is what I'm going to say. And I'm going to say this obviously from the male point of view, because I feel like she wrote this in wanting the male point of view. So I'm going to give it to her straight. Okay. This is kind of bad or controversial, if you want to take it that way. If I'm being honest with you, I think it's a thing, and this is just my thought, okay? And from a male perspective, I think it's a thing where he is probably no longer physically attracted to you, okay? And I know the comments blowing up talking about, oh my God, they've been together for so long, he should love her for the way she is, and this and that. And I get that. I fully understand that. But the fact that he was flirting with another girl from work and stuff like that, I feel like it was a thing where he is just no longer sexually attracted to you or physically attracted to you. I think I fully guarantee the love is still there, because, he looks at it like, this is my girl, and she's willing to do things for me more than any other girl or even this girl I'm talking to would do for me, and I love her for that reason and stuff like that. But when it comes to the sexual aspect of our relationship, it may be a thing where in his eyes she's gained weight, or maybe she's not dressing up as much, or maybe it's a thing where her looks have been kind of lacking, and he maybe missed the way that she would kind of upkeep herself. The relationship has been going on for a multitude of years, 3 years, as she said, and I personally think that that's what it is. I think it's that sexual, physical attraction that she has lost in his eyes, whether it's she may have gained weight to him, or she's not upkeeping herself, she's not really doing her hair that like that, she's not really doing her makeup, whatever the case may be, she's not going to get her nails done, stuff like that. And I think he values that. He values the fact that, my girl decides to look good. She got comfortable in the relationship, and she's not really trying as much, she's not really putting in effort to look good for him and things like that. Because you have to understand, men are visual creatures. We can love a woman till the ends of earth, okay? We really can. Men can love one woman to the ends of earth. And, women are going to argue to their dying breath that men can't do that. You guys cheat and you guys love hoes and you want to have sex with this girl and that girl and this and that and that. And that's true, most definitely. I'm not going to discount that. But you have to understand, for a man to love a woman, she has to bring the utmost value to his life in order for him to really take her serious. Now, men don't ask for much in relationships. They look at it like, hey, as long as you're not a hoe out in these streets, you're to a degree physically attractive, and, you're just not combative and loud and all these crazy things. Most of the time, that's about 3 things. I'd say 90% of guys really like that. Now, when you have 2 out of 3 of those things, where it's like, she's my girl, she not out here being hoe, she is not being combative in the relationship and causing problems over nothing and things like that, great. But this is where a lot of ladies fall flat. In the beginning of the relationship, like she said, it was great. It was spontaneous dates. They had a lot of fun. They were doing this and that and blah, blah, blah. But you have to understand, in the beginning of the relationship, she was probably very upkeeping herself. She probably got her hair done every month. She probably got her nails done, every once in a while. She was always making sure she was wearing cute outfits. Probably, taking care of her body, trying to, keep a slim figure or, a figure that he enjoys. I don't know, what he likes, but, he may like thicker girls, he may like skinnier girls, whatever the case may be. But when he first got with you, he liked what he saw. He liked the look. The physical attraction was there for him. And so when a girl gets comfortable in a relationship, for a guy, when a girl gets comfortable in a relationship and she goes ahead and one of those 3 major things starts to diminish, that's when a guy doesn't necessarily love you less, but he starts to kind of pull away, get a little distant, and just be like, she's not really the girl that I met anymore. You know what I mean? She's, like I said, to him, probably gained weight or is not physically attractive anymore. And so, what he's doing to kind of get that physical attractiveness, and kind of counterbalance that, he's talking to this other girl and they're being flirty and this and that. Why? Because this other girl is to a degree taking care of herself, getting her hair done, whatever the case, whatever he likes physically, she's doing that. And his girl stopped doing that. Why? Because she's been in a relationship. She feels like she's got the guy. She doesn't have to try so hard anymore. I personally think if I were to talk to him one-on-one, that's probably what he would say. He'd be like, she gained some weight. Like, I love her. That's my girl and everything. But I'm just not physically attractive to her anymore. It's hard for my dick to get hard for her. It's getting more difficult for us. And I understand a lot of people will sit there and have the argument of, oh, well, why doesn't he tell her that? Why doesn't he, express that to her and things like that? The thing is he knows that if he expresses that to her, it's gonna start, I guess you could say fights. It'll start a fight, or it'll make her upset to a degree, and then he's got to deal with all of this and that, because women a lot of times in a relationship feel like, why do I have to change? Why, you know what I mean? You've liked me this way for 3 years and blah, 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 blah. And it's just like, but you don't see the lack of effort that you're putting in, because you've gotten comfortable. So now this is your new normal. And that's why it's tough when you're even like living with your significant other. They start to put in even less effort. Why? Because they look at it like, you've seen me when I wake up, so why am I going to get dolled up for you and this and that when, you saw me as the goblin this morning, looking crazy. And it's just like, it's the effort. It's simply just the effort. It's the effort to, still go to the gym and keep your body right. It's the effort to still, get your hair done and wear nice clothes. It's the effort to put on a little makeup and want to dress up for me a little bit, to a degree, still be comfortable around the house and stuff like that. I'm not saying wear a full face of makeup around the house. Not saying that at all. But I'm saying you should at least put in a minimal amount of effort, or to a degree, some effort that you were putting in the beginning of the relationship in now, and continuing to put that in, because you have to understand, again, like I said, men are visual creatures. So we want to be able to see our girl looking good. For who? Us, And a lot of girls, they say that, who am I getting dressed up for? And who am I doing all this for? I'm just going to be at home, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, I understand that. You're going to be at home, probably wearing your pajamas and all this kind of stuff. But throughout the day, it's like, try to look good for me, Put in a little effort. You know what I mean? Act like you want to look good for your boy. I'm just saying, it's like men are visual creatures. And if you diminish that to a degree to where you feel like, oh, I don't have to wear, as much makeup as I used to, or I don't have to wear this or do that, or, then he's going to start to look for that elsewhere, and a lot of guys won't say it, you know what I mean? They won't say it because they don't want to deal with the, in his eyes, it'd be complaining, you know what I mean? But as we know, it would be a fight, and stuff like that. So it's like, you don't want to diminish that, because it's what he liked about you in the beginning, and now you're not doing that anymore. Why? Because you got comfortable. So my biggest advice to you is probably start taking a little notice of yourself. You know what I mean? If you feel like, you may have gained some weight or whatever the case may be, get in the gym, take care of yourself a little bit. If it's a thing of, oh, maybe I don't, doll up for him enough and stuff like that, try that. Doll up yourself a little bit. You know what I mean? Look good for your man, because if you can continue that looking good throughout the relationship, I can guarantee you he'll have no reason to kind of talk to other girls to the degree that he's talking to this girl. You know what I mean? He won't. He just won't have that. And so, and again, it's like you have to put in that effort and keep that effort. It's not just a thing where it's like, okay, I'm going to do this for a little bit and I'm going to get him back. And then, because I can guarantee that's why he's being distant. It's a simple fact that he is just simply, lacking that physical attraction. It could be something else. I don't know. You guys let me know in the comments what you think, but I think it's physical attraction. It's just how guys are. All right, we got our next one. Caught in a tangle of secrets, relationship crossroads. Ooh, okay. I, 26 female, am in a really confusing situation with my boyfriend, 28 male, and I need some advice. We've been together for 3 years and things were great until a couple months ago. All right. My boyfriend has always been open about his phone, but recently he's been acting weird. He used to leave his phone around without a care, but now he keeps it locked and takes it everywhere with him. When I asked him about it, he got defensive and said I should just trust him. But the thing is, I do trust him, or at least I used to. I can't shake off the uneasy feeling. Should I give him the space and try to trust him like he said, or should I insist on more openness? I'm worried that confronting him might push him away, but I also can't ignore the changes in our relationship. Thanks everyone for the responses. It's been a mix of community is key and trust your gut. I decided to have an open conversation with him about his behavior was making how his behavior was making me feel. It was tough, but we managed to have an honest talk. Turns out he was dealing with some personal issues that he didn't know how to share. We both agreed on a more open, to be more open with each other and work things through together. Okay, I mean, she kind of edited it in the end and kind of answered everything, sometimes, yeah, that's simply what it is. I mean, if you're in a relationship and your partner used to be a certain way and then they've changed up all of a sudden, I know women like to go to the worst possible thing. Oh, it's the worst. In relationships I've been in the past, they do that. They go to the worst immediately. And a lot of times it's like, don't do that. Don't do that. I can't stress that enough. Just don't do that. Because the reason you don't do that is because now you're going to kind of throw yourself into a spiral and you're going to just not be thinking straight. I can understand how your emotions can get high and you can start, it's hard to kind of think logically at that point, and it's hard to like think straight and be like, oh, so what you can do is simply, like in this situation for her, just like she pretty much just had a conversation with him and was just like, hey, I've noticed that this is going on. I don't think you're cheating or anything like that. I just kind of want to know what's going on. Just let me in a little bit. Now, he's going to get defensive and things like that, blah, blah, blah. And simply, I mean, women, you need to just throw that FBI cap on. Start asking his parents things. Start asking family members things. Hey, look, I've noticed so-and-so is acting a little different. And, I just want to make sure that he's okay. I want to know, like, what's going on. He kind of won't tell me. Maybe you know something. If the family doesn't know anything, try friends. Hey, I've noticed so-and-so is being a little different. What's going on? You know what I mean? Put that FBI cap on, girls, and start investigating. Don't go straight to the cheating. Try to go to friends, family, close people that he works with, stuff like that. Try to go to them first and just ask him, because I'm sure he's opened up about this situation that he's going through or whatever's going through the change to somebody. I can guarantee you he's done it with somebody. He's opened up to somebody, and they will be reluctant to tell you, but they know that, okay, this is his partner. So, you know what I mean? She kind of has a right to know. Maybe it's hard for him to talk about this and that. And a lot of times they will tell you. They'll be like, oh, look, he doesn't really, want to talk about it, things like that, but he's going through this and that and that. And if you do go through all those steps and you find out that nothing's going on, then maybe you can look toward the cheating kind of thing. But try not to go to the worst case scenario right off the bat. Don't do that, because it's just going to cloud your judgment. It's going to make you mad. It's going to make you upset. And then you're going to do something you kind of regret. So the simplest thing to do is just simply say, okay, this is what we're going to do. Ask friends, ask family, close coworkers, figure out what's going on. And then if they're not telling me, try to ask him again and simply just be like, hey, I've tried asking friends, family, what's going on with you. They are reluctant to tell me. So, like, obviously something serious is going on. What the fuck is going on? And, if I look at it like, try everything you can before thinking cheating. Try everything you can before cheating. That way you can save your relationship and you're not sitting there looking or feeling crazy, you know what I mean? Or like, asking a podcast, what's going on, like this girl. Simply. I mean, it's the truth. So, All right, we got our last scenario. Oh, no, that was our last scenario. All right, awesome. All right, thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate you guys coming in, spending the time with your boy. If you guys want bite-sized pieces of the episode, then go ahead and follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Am I the Asshole Podcast. If you guys want exclusive episodes and being able to send in your very own Am I the Asshole or scenario, go ahead and follow us on Patreon. Links down below. I appreciate you guys, and peace.